The guide was so furious that his body began to release a suffocating aura, which started to spread everywhere. Upon feeling the pressure of such power, the martial saint stepped back. Cumberland knelt before the guide, struck his fist against the ground, lowered his head before him, and with a sincere tone decided to inform the guide that this time the production of energy crystals had exceeded by more than 30% compared to the previous time. With a total weight exceeding 500 kilos, Cumberland's eyes widened in fear and his body began to tremble. He did not know how to reveal that Lu Sheng had the energy crystals. The guide clenched his teeth tightly and with a confused expression questioned whether they were planning to give him a surprise and secret. A system window showing Lu Sheng from behind and surrounded by fire appeared. Cumberland stood up, began pointing at it with his hand, and with a gaze full of fear revealed they wanted to deliver the energy crystals to the guide, but this time all the production of energy crystals had been stolen, asking him to please look at the system window. The system began showing Lu Sheng fighting against several martial saints. Then our boy appeared flying next to the giant energy crystal, and with a smile made it clear that he was invincible. If the guide had any objection, he could come talk to him in person. Far from feeling furious, the guide began to applaud and praise Lu Sheng. He began to observe Lu Sheng closely, and a smile spread across his face as he never thought that a small level 1 resource star like the blue planet could produce such an interesting martial talent. The system began to show Lu Sheng staring confidently at the martial saints. The guide remembered that Lu Sheng had said for him to come find him when he arrived, giving the order to the martial saints to take him to Lu Sheng now. The guide began to show an evil smile and felt excited since his journey was not going to be so boring after all. Somewhere in the Dragon Kingdom, Martial Saint Tan Zhongwu was sitting and meditating with his back resting against a tree. Several seconds later, the martial saint opened his eyes and went on alert, realizing that the guide had arrived. His eyes began to shine with fear and joy. He remembered that Lu Sheng had proclaimed himself as someone invincible. But now that the guide had arrived, a question came to the martial saint's mind. He did not know whether Lu Sheng would come out alive or dead after the confrontation. Somewhere in the city was the pavilion of martial overcoming, a beautiful dojo filled with trees. Inside the dojo, someone took off their shoes, revealing some beautiful feet. It was none other than Zhongyu. She lay down in the hammock, closed her eyes, and let out a sigh. With a curious expression, she asked her daughter Lin Wanwin if there was someone she liked, someone she might consider dating. Lin Wanwin began to massage her mother's feet, and her eyes widened with nervousness. With an embarrassed expression, she said that for now she didn't feel attracted to anyone. Lin Wanwin's attention focused on her mother's feet, and her eyes filled with surprise. Her mother was a martial saint, and she couldn't give her a foot massage without making an effort. Zhang Yu took a glass of water, got ready to take a sip. But just then, her attention was fixed on her daughter. With a surprised expression, she asked if Lin Wanwin didn't like some boy from the martial arts school. Lin Wanwin's eyes began to shine with sadness. With a sincere gaze, she explained that the people from the martial arts school were like brothers and sisters who had seen her grow up since she was little. They were like her family, so she couldn't think about having something romantic with them. Upon hearing this, Zhang Yu's eyes widened in surprise. She began to observe her daughter in silence. She extended her hand to one side and asked if she was interested in someone outside the martial arts school. Lin Wanwin began to observe her mother and with a sincere expression mentioned that since she was little, she had barely gone out into the city, so she didn't know many people from outside. With a curious gaze, the mother asked her daughter who it was that she had most admired from the few times she had left the martial arts school. Lin Wanwin's eyes filled with curiosity. She put her hand on her chin and began to ponder in silence. She began to imagine Lu Sheng holding Kingsu in his arms. She began to blush and, showing a finger, a joyful smile spread across her face. revealing that the person she had most admired was Kingsu's boyfriend. Lu Sheng, since when she was trapped in the cave, everyone thought she had died. But only Lu Sheng did not abandon her and went straight to save her. If one day she looked for a boyfriend, it had to be someone like Lu Sheng. The image of Lu Sheng holding a spear and with his body emitting martial flames came to Lin Wanwin's mind. Lu Sheng had single-handedly defeated all the martial saints at the Great Assembly of the World Clan. From that day forward, the world called him the invincible martial saint. But in Lin Wanwin's heart, what left the deepest mark wasn't that grand battle. It was the moment when Lu Sheng, without hesitation, had rushed in to save Kingsu. With both hands on her cheeks and eyes closed, Lin Wanwin sighed softly. Her heart fluttered with affection. Lu Sheng. Watching her daughter, Zhang Yu's smile widened knowingly, just as I thought. But suddenly, her expression changed. The warmth disappeared, replaced by steely alertness. Her body shimmered into pure energy and vanished. "I'm going out for a bit," she said sharply. "I don't know when I'll be back." Still caught in her daydream, Lin Wanwin blinked, her jaw dropping as confusion washed over her. Meanwhile, Zhang Yu slipped on a ninja mask, her expression sharpening. The guide had arrived, and she needed to see for herself whether Lu Sheng had truly heard her last message. Deep within a level-tiered cavern, littered with the corpses of mutant beasts, chaos reigned. A massive, demon-shaped beast lunged forward, but a man met it with a brutal kick under the jaw, sending it reeling. He didn't hesitate. Jumping up, he rammed his fist straight into the beast's chest, killing it in one strike. Not far off, a group of armed men stared in stunned silence, jaws hanging. The man with a cigar trembled slightly. "This kid's insane," he thought. "Fighting mutant beasts like he's got a personal vendetta." They weren't wrong. That wild man was none other than Martial Saint Zhao Jai. Grinning, Zhao Jai clenched his fists. The god of war's body technique, he thought, his excitement rising. Each time I train it, it deepens. That man truly stands above all. Suddenly, something shifted. Zhao Jai's eyes widened. The guide, he's here. He frowned and shook his head, closing his eyes. Damn, these memories again. He began erasing the residual memories from this body, unwilling to let them cloud his mind. Just then, two more mutant beasts appeared. Zhao Jai launched forward, fists blazing. "If I want to return to my world and take revenge, I'll need to kill 10 million of these things first." Elsewhere on the planet, a man in a wide-brimmed hat stood silently, lost in thought. A subordinate approached, knelt, and relayed the news. Hours later, a wave of powerful warriors took to the skies with grim determination. The moment the guide arrived on Earth, the message spread like wildfire. Even martial saints who had refused to greet him in the desert now turned their course toward the Dragon Kingdom. Under the bright sun over Ninghai Sea, Lu Sheng's luxury yacht cut through the waves. On deck, Kingsu stood frozen in fear, her instincts screaming. She wiped away cold sweat, unease settling in her chest. Then it happened. The guide appeared behind her, wearing a gentle smile. "Do you know where Lu Sheng is?" His presence was overwhelming. Kingsu couldn't move, paralyzed by the sheer pressure. Trembling, she slowly turned to face him only to see the guide standing with a legion of martial saints. He looked kind, but his aura whispered danger. Behind him stood Tan Zhongwu and Lin Zhengyu. Everyone on the yacht was a martial saint. Kingsu's eyes narrowed with fury. Even martial saints call him Lord. They've come for Lu Sheng. The guide tilted his head. "Why isn't Zhao Jai here? Don't tell me Lu Sheng killed him." Tan Zhongwu didn't answer. He just stared at the guide in silence. Cumberland stepped forward and extended a hand. "This girl," he said calmly, "is Lu Sheng's fiancée. If we interrogate her, we can locate him and the energy crystals." The guide said nothing, merely sinking into thought. Kingsu's fear returned. She turned sharply and bolted, determined not to let them find Lu Sheng. But before she could take a step, an invisible force snapped around her. She froze, confused. Her limbs refused to obey. Cumberland raised a hand, power humming in his palm. He smirked. "You really thought a level 6 martial artist could escape from us? How delusional." Suddenly, "Cumberland." A voice rang out. He froze. His heart skipped. Someone was descending from the sky. Their aura crackled with unmatched power. Cumberland turned, trembling. That voice, that pressure. His eyes widened in sheer horror. Lu Sheng had arrived. Cumberland stood frozen, stunned by the sudden arrival of our boy, Lu Sheng. He could hardly believe his eyes. The figure floating in the sky, bathed in a swirling purple aura, could only be the legendary divine general. Yet something felt off. Lu Sheng's form wasn't physically present. It gave off an ethereal, dreamlike presence that sent chills down Cumberland's spine. The sheer force of the projection overwhelmed him, making him nauseous. He realized with dread that what hovered above was a perfect psychic clone of Lu Sheng. But Lu Sheng wasn't in the mood for pleasantries. With terrifying speed, he moved forward and struck Cumberland with a casual slap of his hand, a blow so powerful that it sent shockwaves across the ocean. Despite the devastating attack, Cumberland clung to life, stunned that Lu Sheng's mere psychic form could obliterate even his carefully nurtured spirit clone with a single hit. The other martial artists nearby could hardly process what they were witnessing. In their eyes, Cumberland might as well have been dead, his spirit forcibly torn from his body, leaving him screaming for salvation. It was then the mysterious hooded figure, the so-called guide, intervened, smiling faintly as he flicked his fingers. Instantly, Cumberland's spirit was yanked back into his body, and he gasped in relief, alive but traumatized beyond belief. The guide understood something crucial. If Lu Sheng could dismantle the souls of these so-called legendary martial artists so effortlessly, then their prized level 9 divine bodies were little more than a joke to him. The guide chuckled darkly. No wonder the other supreme martial artists of this world felt like helpless playthings in Lu Sheng's presence. Meanwhile, Lu Sheng, still in spirit form, stared directly at the guide, smiling, as if recognizing him. The guide flinched internally, rattled by how Lu Sheng had identified him so easily. Before the guide could react, Lu Sheng lunged forward, ready to land a heavy punch. But just before impact, the guide calmly tapped Lu Sheng's forehead. A simple touch, yet it unleashed a monstrous shockwave that tore through the ocean, brutally injuring Lu Sheng and sending the surrounding martial artists flying like leaves in a storm. Despite the damage, Lu Sheng held his ground, undeterred. What followed was a surreal battle. The guide, using only his fingers, parried every one of Lu Sheng's furious blows. His casual finger flicks clashed against Lu Sheng's frenzied punches, until finally, a single concentrated strike from the guide sent Lu Sheng flying across the sky. "You call that power?" the guide scoffed. "If that's all you've got, you'd be better off giving up now." Instead of fear, Lu Sheng threw his head back and laughed. "You think that was serious?" he sneered. "That was just my warm-up." Suddenly, a huge purple vortex erupted within the ocean, sending colossal waves crashing outward. From the depths, Lu Sheng's real body emerged untouched by even a drop of water. He floated towards the ship, his eyes burning with newfound intensity. Upon seeing the guide clearly, Lu Sheng instantly understood. This was the same creature who had given Zhao the ultimate technique that had once defeated him. Without hesitation, Lu Sheng seized Kingsu with his psychic powers, gently pushing her away. "It's about to get dangerous. Stay back," he warned. The guide offered a sly grin. "Hand over the 400 kilos of energy crystals," he said casually, "and I'll leave this backwater world alone. Even with all your power, you're still alone. No one here can save you." The surrounding martial artists were bewildered. Why was the guide negotiating so kindly with Lu Sheng? Why wasn't he punishing him for violating the rules? The truth was becoming clear. The guide didn't see Lu Sheng as a criminal, he saw him as a rare talent to admire. But Lu Sheng's expression hardened. He rejected the offer flatly, telling the guide he would rather die than surrender. If the guide wanted the crystals, he would have to take them by force. The other martial artists were stunned. Was Lu Sheng insane? The guide had even reduced his demands out of respect, but Lu Sheng stomped on the offer without hesitation. The guide stared in disbelief. Was this boy really willing to spit in the face of such mercy? Lu Sheng, growing more impatient, began mocking the guide viciously, calling him delicate, accusing him of fighting like a wishy-washy fish without a shred of real manhood, even joking that he must be practicing some kind of feminine martial arts. He laughed at the guide's so-called threats, painting him as a melodramatic drama queen. The guide's rage boiled over. Veins bulged in his temples as he roared that he was no weakling. Energy flared around him so intense that volcanoes on distant islands began erupting. Even fishermen miles away felt the shift in seasons and dropped to their knees, praying desperately to the dragon god of the sea to spare them. Only Lu Sheng and the elite martial artists understood. This was no divine dragon, this was the wrath of the guide. Cumberland trembled, realizing the truth. Such massive, casual weather manipulation meant that the guide wasn't merely a planetary powerhouse, he was something cosmic. Meanwhile, Kingsu, carried away by Lu Sheng's psychic powers, watched with worry. She knew Lu Sheng was treading dangerous ground. The guide's purple aura now crackled violently with thunder, lighting up the sky as bolts rained down around the ship. But Lu Sheng only smiled calmly. "If this is all you've got," he taunted, "then you really are a wimp." For the first time, the guide's full face was revealed twisted in pure fury. He muttered in an ancient, guttural tongue before launching multiple purple thunderbolts straight at Lu Sheng. The guide charged, his speed breathtaking, aiming his two sharp fingers directly at Lu Sheng's chest. When the attack landed, it blasted Lu Sheng several meters away. But Lu Sheng rose again, bloodied but undeterred, his power climbing higher and higher with each moment. The watching martial artists gasped. They were witnessing the birth of a true level 10 genius. Still, compared to the guide's towering strength, Lu Sheng seemed almost fragile. To them, it looked like the guide could destroy him with a flick. The guide scoffed, believing Lu Sheng defeated. He told him to understand the vast gulf that separated them, a chasm no human could cross. Yet, as the smoke cleared, Lu Sheng stood smiling. Pieces of something ancient were breaking away from his face, some invisible barrier collapsing. "I'll admit," Lu Sheng said, grinning. "You're not bad after all." For the first time, Lu Sheng truly respected the guide. And the battle had only just begun.